Hello, Sat Shri Akal, Namaskar. You are watching FYI Media and I am Arshdeep with you, and you are watching today's special episode with Mr. Ajay Bisaria, who is an Indian career diplomat in Indian Foreign Services. If I'll talk about him, he is currently he is serving as a High Commissioner of India to Canada, and previously he served as High Commissioner of India to Pakistan as well from 2017 to 2019, and he served India in many countries as well, and he has his studies from Bombay, Delhi and many more places in India as well. And today we're going to talk about India relationship, India-Canada's relationship and trade relationship. So let's welcome Mr. Ajay Bisaria. So, Mr. Bisaria, welcome, first of all.
Thank you very much, Harsh. It's great to be on your show.
How are you?
Excellent, thank you. It's great to be in Vancouver.
You came first time in Vancouver. How you feel, first of all?
Well, it's a delight to be in Vancouver. I've been planning to come here for a while, but because of the COVID numbers, I couldn't. But I've made it finally, and it's a pleasure to see this most beautiful part of Canada.
Very nice. And if I'll talk about your Vancouver visit, I will start from there. SFU, you visited last day. How was your experience with the SFU president and everything?
Very positive. Because SFU, as you know, hosts a large number of Indian students. Yes. And one of the concerns we are facing today is the desire of students to come for the fall semester. And after all these semesters of online learning, people are very keen, the students are keen to come and do some in-person learning. So we were delighted, and we are working with SFU to be able to facilitate this movement of students. For this, we need multiple things like mobility, air mobility, and also for the university to be flexible. So what the SFU has told us, that they will be very flexible in accommodating these students, because for whatever reason, if some of them get delayed, there would be a great deal of flexibility in their program.
Mm-hmm. And what you feel when you see overall students from India to Canada to their higher education, so how you feel that their situation in Canada?
Well, it's obviously very good, because these students are coming in very large numbers, 230,000 Indian students in Canada today, which means it's the largest number of students India sends to any other part of the world, or to any part of the world. And also it's the largest cohort of foreign students that Canada receives. So obviously there's something good about what they're seeing in Canada and what Canada is offering. So it's a win-win, because these students love to get this education, and for Canada it's a huge source of revenue and being able to populate universities with a large number of students.
That's true. And if we'll talk about your personal experience when you were coming here in March 1st, 2020, and COVID happened. Nobody was prepared for the COVID, and how you tackled that situation, because you were new to Canada as well.
Well, you know, it was a very interesting experience. This is uncharted territory. No one knew what we were coming in for. So as I say, I came just in time to be locked down in Ottawa. But the plus of this experience has been that we were creative, and we could do a great deal of virtual diplomacy. So a lot of conversations had to be had, relationships had to be struck online. And this is always a challenge in diplomacy, where you want to shake a hand and see the person's look in the eye. But often you did not have that advantage. But the plus side was that we could have a large number of meetings with a large number of people who were suddenly available in different parts of Canada without traveling. So I think we've tried to be creative, but finally there's no substitute for human contact and in-person contact.
And COVID teaches us many things, and now everything is going back to normal, everything is on track. But if I'll talk about you, you were High Commissioner of India in Pakistan as well from 17 to 19, and then now to Canada. I'm not going to talk about your history, because if I'll talk about the history, so I need probably a day or more. But if I'll talk about the experience with other countries, and now to Canada, and it's your experience with Canada is only a year. So how you feel difference in other countries and Canada?
Well, I feel privileged to have represented India in multiple countries and have multiple friends and friendships and conversations, and have had the ability to build bridges between those countries and India. And I think Canada has something special to offer because the people are polite, they are very professional, and they love India. So I think these are huge advantages to start with. Even apart from the fact that Canada's energy, a large part of Canada's energy derives from the Indo-Canadian population of 1.6 billion. And they give a special X factor in this relationship. So it's a pleasure working here and working with a large number of diverse people.
If we'll talk about India, India is like largest country by population, if we can say, and Canada is largest country due to geographical area, right? So your experience, share some like good experiences, like any situation you want to share with us.
Well, you know, we often say about India and Canada, we are the world's two largest democracies, one by population, the other by area. And we have a great deal in common. There have been many positive experiences in Canada. And one of the positive experiences certainly was our coordination during the pandemic. And this was right from the beginning of the pandemic. We had India sending last year as the pharmacy of the world drugs which were needed by Canada, which was paracetamol and hydroxychloroquine. And subsequently, when Canada, the Canadian Prime Minister, Mr. Trudeau, called up Prime Minister Modi this year in February and said we need vaccines, those vaccines came from India within 3 weeks, 500,000 doses of them.
The first shipment.
Yes. And then when India went through a brutal second wave, Canada stepped up to assist. There were oxygen plants and various equipment that was sent by Canada to India. So we watched each other's back during this pandemic. And the recent very positive news has been an Indo-Canadian vaccine. So there's a company based in Alberta which is manufacturing a vaccine in Hyderabad in India, which is the vaccine capital of the world. And this vaccine is already gone through third stage trials, and this is going to be a vaccine that will be available to India, Canada, and to the world. So these are all very positive developments in the recent past.
For the vaccine shipments, as you said, there was a difference experience. But what kind of help you got from both countries?
Well, both countries have stepped up and realized that we're all in it together, and have been helping each other. And Canada and India are part of the effort to help the world through the pandemic, because both of us are part of COVAXIN, which is a global effort to provide vaccines to everyone on the planet, and particularly those countries that don't manufacture it and are developing countries. So we are coordinating closely.
Any difficulty you face?
Well, not really. I would say that we coordinate, we cooperate. When we have a complex cooperation going on, there will always be hiccups, but the art of diplomacy is to address those hiccups and find solutions.
India and Canada, they both are widening their relationships, their partnership in everything. So how you see the bilateral relationships in both countries?
Well, you know, the headline of the India-Canada strategic partnership, we declared a strategic partnership when Prime Minister Modi visited Canada in 2015. And since then, the headline of that relationship has been the huge economic partnership that has developed. So Canadian funds and investment firms, which had an investment of just about $5 billion in 2014, are today investing $60 billion plus in India. We have an exchange of over $100 billion in terms of, if you add trade and investment and remittances and everything else. So I think it's a very positive direction in the economic partnership, and a large part of it is driven by the people-to-people relations, which is thanks to the large number of Indian heritage people like yourself who've settled in Canada.
True, and you now said that there is a trade business between both countries. In your sense, if I will say, so how the trade business doing in both countries, like in India and in Canada?
Well, it's going very positively, and we are finding newer and newer areas of collaboration. For instance, one of the areas now which represents the future is startups. Both countries have excellent startup ecosystems, some of the best in the world. And this is where the creativity and the young companies are coming and creating value. So as I mentioned, the Indo-Canadian vaccine is one such startup. But there are many others in frontier areas of technology like artificial intelligence, data, in digital technologies, and so on. So I think we are moving towards a very promising future of the partnership as India's economy grows at a very high pace. I think Canada will be a very important partner.
As you said, like everybody is growing now because after pandemic, nobody was in such situation, and now they're back to track, or they're going back to track in like few months, or maybe next year, everything will be boomed. But if I'll talk about Canada and India, comprehensive economic partnership agreement, which is from, I think, last decade. So what do you think, where is the status of negotiations right now?
Well, we are at a sweet spot, at a promising place. As you said, this has been something we've been talking about for a decade.
Yes.
But now we have a more creative solution on the table, which is that we are discussing an early harvest agreement, which means we will agree on a limited number of things that we are in our mutual interest, and possibly work out a trade agreement which is in both our interests, but more limited than the very ambitious agreement which we will sign subsequently. So we are in expert level discussions on this issue, and we hope to reach some kind of good landing spot perhaps next year.
Very nice. So if I'll talk about the motivation, so any motivational experience from Canada you got from last a year?
Well, again, I think there has been a great deal of learning during the pandemic, and for me that learning happened in Canada. And the first bit was, of course, how to do virtual online diplomacy without meeting people, but to be establishing those connections and contacts and come up with solutions to problems by virtual means. That certainly was an important part. The second was to deal with new and tough challenges, like the challenge of so many stranded Indians and Canadians who were caught up in each other's country when the pandemic broke out and the lockdowns began. How to get them back to their countries, they wanted to go back. So there was the Vande Bharat mission from India, and we created the air bubble and the air corridor, which helped people move back home, and that was very important for them.
So when Vande Bharat mission started in last year, so now many people took the benefit for that mission. So when that mission started, how you tackle that situation from India and Canada, because no flights were there that time, and everything was like shut down, and how you tackle that situation?
Well, because we could react quickly and adapt ourselves and come up with a creative solution, we created that air bubble. Air India stepped up despite the COVID pandemic. They started creating ways in which they would be protected with PPE and so on, and yet be able to get people home who were desperate to get home. So I think that was a creative solution which came because both countries were cooperating, coordinating, and had similar problems. There were citizens stranded in the other country who wanted to get back. So I think that is one strong example of what we should be doing when two partners are working, two country partners, in creating solutions for the people.
Right now, people are waiting for the flights, right, to go to India, or because borders are closed right now. So you see any positivity so that soon the borders will open and the travel will start from one country to another country? Well,
I am hopeful because we have very good news from India. After a brutal second wave, we have a very rapid recovery. And the Indian vaccination program is going on at a very strong pace, just like in Canada. So we have a positive situation of vaccinated people willing to travel. And I think that should happen quickly because global mobility is very important for global business, global trade, global recovery. And the mobility of people is critical in that. And so we are hoping that in late August, when the current restrictions are lifted, then we will have a surge in travel and people will be able to go to each other's countries and be able to revive the economy.
India and Canada, they both countries are like biggest trade partners, I must say. And if we'll talk about the trade and as well as the borders, or many people from India are living in Canada right now. But what will be their investment, if we'll talk about the investment points? So any message to them who wants to invest in India or in Canada?
Well, I would say to invest in India, this is one of the best moments to invest in India because India is rapidly changing the investment climate, becoming most welcoming. Most Indian states have new kind of conditions created. India's position has jumped up in the ease of doing business rankings of the World Bank to number 63. It used to be more than 120. So there is a very positive environment for business and investment, and we have been seeing a lot of positive reactions from Canadian business and investors who have invested, as I said, more than $60 billion in portfolio investments in India. And we are seeing a lot of tendency also among the Indo-Canadian businesses to want to have a foothold in India and to invest in India, which is, I think, a very positive thing. And so we talk to a large number of business people who are looking at India now as their base in Asia to be able to manufacture and export all through Asia.
So right now is the right time to invest anywhere in India?
Absolutely. Now is the good time, and many states in India have had huge structural reforms and reforms in land, labor, in capital, in rules to make investing very, very not just attractive but also profitable.
So, as you just mentioned, there are many people who are Indian in Canada, so they want to live here in Canada. More people are citizen here. So, the OCI cards, they are beneficial for them. Any message for the diaspora living in Canada?
Certainly. I would say for all your viewers and people of Indian heritage that the OCI card is something really valuable. It's something very easy to get, and it helps you, it gives you a lifelong visa to India, and it gives you a sense of pride in belonging to both countries. You know, in today, I think a global identity of a person like yourself is you're a global citizen. You live in Canada, you come from India, but you have a global identity. So why not carry both those identities? And use this OCI card, which is a facility the government of India is giving to the diaspora of over 30 million across the world.
Because many people, they said, okay, we have a two country citizenship, they don't want it, but as you said, OCI cards are beneficial for them because when pandemic happened, so it was really beneficial to them because they came on the priority basis to the Canada or to the India.
Absolutely, because today if you have an OCI card, you can travel to India without needing a visa. If you have a Canadian citizenship, you would need to get either an emergency visa or a business visa to travel because tourist visas are not allowed at this point of time. So it's a definite advantage to anyone with an OCI card who would like to visit India, particularly in an emergency or at short notice. So I would advocate certainly that people of Indian heritage should get their OCI cards. This gives them multiple advantages, including that of travel.
Mr. Bisaria, if I'll talk about you personally, so you have experience with many countries, many countries, every part of country, and represent India. How are you proud to represent India, first of all?
Well, it's certainly a matter of great pride to represent India and a growing India of the 21st century, changing India, an economically resurgent India. So it's been a privilege and a matter of pride to be able to talk to people in different countries to represent India. and to particularly to work on the economic side of advocating India as a destination for investment and a place to do business. And also, I think people across the world want similar things. The aspirations are the same. They want peace, they want prosperity, and the job of diplomats is to find those areas to work on and to make those bridges, and that's what we do.
As you see India growing from many years, like if I'll start from 1987, because when you start doing representing India, and then now we are here in 2021, how many changes you see in India's economy or the trade partnership with each and every country, not with Canada, but different countries?
Well, you know, India's journey is going to be 75 years of independence now, and I'm fortunate to have worked for at least 3 decades of this journey. And when I started service, India was a different country, but in 1991 we had transformational reforms of the economy. And from the 90s, India started changing dramatically. There was incremental reform. In 2000 plus, India was on the global high table. India's voice is heard globally. India is now part of the G20. So India is part of multiple conversations globally. It is a United Nations Security Council non-permanent member also currently. So I think it's been a matter of pride to see India's evolution and this journey and its voice for positive change in the world.
Everybody needs positivity right now, and especially in the COVID times, and everybody is getting their vaccines and stuff. But I must say, ask one question. So whenever I see your any I can say statement or anything, I see those books in your hand that represent India. I will have the names. It's India's Wild Wonders and the Momentum India book. So I wanted to know about those books.
Well, you know, it's when we meet dignitaries in Canada and we want to share with them a gift and a token gift. And there are these wonderful productions of books, one on the wildlife of India, the other one you mentioned is on the monuments of India. And these are something we are proud of. This is part of India's civilization, and we like to share these coffee table books with our friends and partners, and they as I said, in Canada they love India, so it also encourages them to think of traveling to India, because incredible India is a great destination in all its myriad colors and diversity. So I think it also encourages people to think about going to India once they see these books.
When I'm talking to you, so it feels like I am in India and I'm talking about India and talking about India's diversity and talking about India's economy, talking about how India is growing right now. But if I'll talk about you, your personal experiences from last many years, so any encouraging message, any message you want to give to the youth, or anything you want to give to the people who are living in Canada right now?
Well, I would say we are going through a very tough period in the life of our planet, but also a period which is very interesting. It's a time of great disruption, and I think this whole century has been a period of disruption, and particularly for younger people. So I would say the important thing is to be able to recognize these changes, analyze these changes, and adapt to them. In whatever business you're in, whether it's media, whether it's diplomacy, whether it's politics, we need to understand these changes, analyze the impact on our life, and adapt to them. And this is what I think the pandemic of the last 2 years has taught us, but this is what the entire century has taught us.
When it's the thing about the relations of two countries, so how difficult you find it to manage those relationships? And whenever you are appointed to a country, so how responsible you feel to take that responsibility?
Well, it's always a challenge, and it's always a very pleasant challenge to be able to deal with these relationships. And relationships between countries are like relationships between people. Some are very adversarial, some are very friendly, some are very loving, but most of the time they're all mixed. And I think the challenge before diplomats is to create positivity in all these relationships and build the bridges and work for mutual interest, because finally when both partners see an interest in a common objective, we try to achieve it, whether it's trade or investment or business or just cultural relations.
Is there anything you want to share with us, like you have a complex situation and you have to deal with the complex situation, but you left that situation and handled that situation very easily?
Well, I would say that as a principle, one should be a little calm and collected and take a few deep breaths before taking decisions. And I think that is very important in diplomacy. We shouldn't lose our sense of centeredness and be able to deal with complex situations with analysis and calm. So I think that is my guiding principle, whether in personal or in professional or relationships, or even when we talk of relationships between countries.
When it's your first visit here in Vancouver, and you were from Ottawa, because there are like two persons who were consulate general here in Vancouver and one in Toronto. So how you maintain that relationship with them as well?
Well, through the pandemic, online, virtually all the time, but of course we consult very closely. So we have the High Commission of India based in Ottawa, and we have a consulate general and in Vancouver and in Toronto, and we have Mr. Manish here, who's a very competent consul general here, and in Toronto we have another consul general. So we coordinate closely and work together in these objectives. So in Ottawa we deal with federal issues, and in Vancouver and Toronto we would deal with issues related to the province and the people more specifically.
After pandemic, now everything, as I said, going back to normal, what you want to see here in Canada, again, for Canada and India as a relationship, I must say, what things you want to do in coming years or months?
Well, we are hoping for rapid normalcy and rapid normal mobility between India and Canada. We are hoping that students who come here have a normal experience, an in-person experience, and that normal flights resume. We are also hoping that the economic partnership between the two countries goes to the next level. That is to mutual advantage. We hope that we are able to achieve a trade agreement and that the investment of Canadian companies in India grows, and that is what we hope happens. The reverse is also happening. A large number of Indian companies are coming to Canada, particularly in IT and pharmaceuticals, and setting up base, because Canada is a very attractive country, not just to do business in, but also live in. So Indian companies are coming. So I think this is a win-win for both countries, and we hope we move in that positive direction.
Very nice. And at the end, any message you want to share with the audiences?
Well, thank you very much for having me. And as I said, one issue which we talk about is it's a great idea to get an OCI card if you're a person of Indian heritage. And also that we will have consular camps very soon in multiple locations, which our consulate in Vancouver will arrange, so that we, for the convenience of all our friends based here. And that I think we will continue to grow this partnership. And to the Indo-Canadian community, I can say that we are extremely proud of you. We are very proud of what you have achieved in politics, in business, in culture, in arts, in science, in Canada. So keep your Canadian identity, but please don't forget your Indian roots, and please keep building those bridges, because this community and your community of Indo-Canadians is really the true ambassadors of India in Canada, because they are in every little district, in every little area, in places where we as diplomats cannot reach. So we rely on Indo-Canadians as our partners in this enterprise.
So that you said really well, don't forget your roots. And if any part of country, if whether you are in Canada or you are in any other country, be with your roots, right? And thank you very much. You talked with us and you share much more information with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Ajay.
So today we talked with Mr. Bisaria and we got more information about India, India's issues, India's trade, and we are looking forward to a good and strong relation with India and Canada for years and years and years. And keep watching FYI Media and we will provide you more and more information. Thank you so much.